Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel just released a new deleted scene with Rhodey and Anthony Mackie's Captain America involving an Iron Man Armor Wars storyline and Captain America 4's Adamantium plot. It looks like before they disowned the Secret Invasion series, before they deleted the scene, they were originally going to spend more time setting up why the Skrulls wanted Iron Man's Stark tech and armors, and what they'd planned to do with Adamantium once they'd stolen it from Tiamat's body in the US government, because that gets into the Captain America 4 footage they just showed off.
Look like you're moving around pretty good now.
Oh, yeah. That upgraded procedure. Come on, you know armor beats wings, Sam.
Right.
I got lasers, all kind of Stark tech. Yeah, that's it. Haven't had to wear the hardware for a minute now. Feels a lot better, I tell you.
I know a lot of people are still asking about that dead Celestial in the Indian Ocean. They're finally going to address that during Captain America 4. It's a big part of the plot in Adamantium. So we'll break it all down, because this kind of fixes the big Skrull twist that they had with Rhodey, because during the actual series when we saw it, it didn't make sense at all. Like, where's he been? What's going on here? That whole series was a mess, but this deleted scene goes a long way towards fixing that. So if you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. This is the scene of Skrull Rhodey talking to Sam Wilson's Captain America about why he doesn't need to wear his special leg braces anymore, hinting at him being a Skrull and his War Machine Iron Man armor, the special quote-unquote upgrades that the Skrulls are working on, which is basically them stealing adamantium and upgrading a lot of Iron Man's armor that they also plan on stealing.
That upgraded procedure.
Notice during that scene, Skrull Rhodey goes from being really serious with him to breaking character for a second, getting super casual. You can kind of see the Skrull creeping through the facade there. What he was doing when this scene was taking place was embedding himself with President Ritson, who was the President of the United States at the time. This is meant to take place before the events of Captain America 4 picks up with Thunderbolt Ross becoming president. Skrull Rhodey and all the other Skrulls Talos had brought to Earth had replaced most major world leaders, people in positions of power like Rhodey here, and were content to rule the Earth from the shadows, using their positions to benefit other Skrulls secretly hiding around Earth, a little over 1 million of them.
I know we talked about it, but...
Sam, don't. Come on. But I'm gonna be mad at you because you dodged out of the way?
Skrull Rhodey here, though, was working with Gravik's hardcore group. They were the ones that were going to wipe out all humans using a couple of different methods, getting into what they're talking about here in this deleted scene. Rhodey specifically was embedding himself with the president to gain access to all the classified documents, details the United States military had collected on adamantium, and gain more access than he already had to Iron Man's Stark tech. It's also how they got access to all the DNA from these powerful beings like the Avengers, other cosmic beings, to create the Super Skrull. But another big part of it was also gaining access to all of Iron Man's tech tangentially through what was happening in Damage Control and Rhodey's own position with Pepper Potts. Even though original Recipe Rhodey wasn't a board member or an officer within Stark Industries, Pepper Potts is still the CEO, but she's beholden to Damage Control and the US government. Damage Control now, the way it functions, is kind of like the US government. They're just meant to be a department of the US government, but they didn't start out that way. But that's why Pepper Potts had to give them access to all the Stark Tech drones during Spider-Man No Way Home. If you don't remember, or they weren't really clear about it, Iron Man was originally one of the creators of Damage Control in the MCU after the events of the first Avengers movie. He mostly started that company to clean up the collateral damage from the Avengers battles, but then eventually the government fully took over control and started using it more like a glorified FBI with way better tech and weapons. That's why Damage Control was using the Stark Tech drones against Ms. Marvel. They use those drones for stuff like this all the time, and that's just part of what they do. Like, the drones aren't the only Stark Tech they have. They're kind of like a new secret police inside the US government now, just doing whatever they want to, like a new version of Homeland Security that's even worse. Skrull Rhodey's position with the president gave him access to Damage Control at the highest levels. So the Skrulls became like secret shoppers, just running through the government, Stark Tech, cherry-picking all the most dangerous advanced weapons and hardware that they wanted. Here's where we get to the connection to Captain America 4 and Adamantium. The Skrulls were trying to gain access so they could upgrade, as Rhodey says in the deleted scene, all their weapons, all their Iron Man armors they intended to steal. You have to remember, Marvel went on and on about how this was also supposed to set up Armor Wars too for the Rhodey character, the real version of Rhodey. Originally, it was a TV series, then it turned into a movie, and it was supposed to come out before Avengers Secret Wars. I think a lot of us think that it got canceled at some point because Marvel has been so quiet about it for so many years now. But it sounds like their original plan, per this deleted scene, is Skrull Rhodey would steal the adamantium that the government found, or actually Sam Wilson's Captain America finds and brings back to the US government. because that's basically the plot of the scene that they released at CinemaCon for Captain America 4. During that footage, which they didn't release online, Thunderbolt Ross, who's become the new president after winning a recent election over President Ritson, thanks Sam Wilson's Captain America here. This is a preview of the scene, so like it's happening in this moment here, who's just come back from a mission in Mexico with the new Torres version of Falcon. This is actually what his Falcon suit looks like, saying that they secured something that's going to be invaluable to the US government from a Japanese mining site, basically yoinking something from this Japanese mining site. And it's supposed to be trace elements of adamantium. The reason why they find it at some Japanese dig site is because of the comics. Originally, it was Dr. Kenji Oyama who developed this technique to bond adamantium to a human skeleton in his quest to create the ultimate warrior for the Japanese army. They kind of got into this during the Wolverine movie with Wolverine in Japan back during World War II and then during present day when he returns. During the comics, his notes were stolen, then used by the Weapon X program in the Canadian military to turn Logan into Wolverine, bonding the adamantium to his skeleton. In the MCU, they're changing the origin of adamantium. In the comics, originally there are many different forms of the metal, but it starts as something called proto-adamantium or true adamantium. That's the form that's meant to be totally unbreakable. In the comics, it forms Captain America's shield, not in the MCU, that's vibranium in the MCU, but it's also meant to be the kind of adamantium that covers Wolverine's skeleton. All other forms of adamantium in the comics are either different alloys or just less pure versions that aren't nearly as strong. Fun fact and super deep cut too, there's a deleted scene where Kevin Feige actually plays one of the Weapon X techs during the original X-Men 2000 movie who takes Wolverine's adamantium claws out of an oven as they're getting ready to bond the adamantium to his skeleton. But that was the original version of events, not the version of Weapon X that we saw during the Wolverine Origins movie. They wound up changing all that years later. Maybe someday Kevin Feige will allow that deleted scene to be released, because it's the only example I can ever find of him actually having a legit cameo scene inside any Marvel production ever in any way. I do not count the Kevin Feige robot during She-Hulk, because that wasn't actual Kevin Feige doing the voice for that. Like, that was just completely different referencing Kevin Feige. Proto-adamantium was originally created by a US scientist during World War II as their experiments in the Weapons Plus program, the same program that developed the super soldier serum for Captain America. Their department over history is dedicated to creating better super soldiers using different methods over history. Adamantium and the super soldier serum are just examples of that.
That we've got an infantry weapons development program. Well, in WW2, they initiated a sub-program for biotech force enhancement.
Yeah, super soldier.
And I dusted it off. Got him doing serious work again, bold work. Across the hall, they're trying to arm you better. We were trying to make you better.
Proto-adamantium or true adamantium was created using vibranium in an unknown catalyst. In the MCU, they're changing that by saying adamantium largely comes from Tiamat's body, that dead celestial. It's meant to be like a treasure trove of cosmic minerals that have all kinds of crazy properties, and everybody around the world wants them for themselves. Adamantium is just the most important one. If you remember, during Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Val, the CIA, the government specifically said President Ritson at the time wanted to make a play for Wakanda's vibranium, like they were looking to get the most powerful resources from around the world, and vibranium at the time was the only one that they knew about. Val also said that it was her dream that the United States would control all the world's vibranium. It sounds like around that time, the government had also discovered that adamantium existed and were developing plans to acquire it from around the world, not just the Celestial's body. So here's where we get back to that new Captain America 4 footage with them going to Mexico and finding adamantium there. I think the idea that Captain America and Falcon's mission to steal some of it from Mexico is because Tiamat's body during the emergence just shed pieces of adamantium. Also, it was gestating the Earth for thousands of years, so like little fragments of adamantium just pushed its way out around the world, different places. But because it's meant to be super rare, we're talking about trace amounts of adamantium, not like giant hunks of it. It's not meant to be like the vibranium meteorite in Wakanda, which is huge. Like, even if they continue using as much vibranium as they wanted for everything, they'd still have enough to last them for thousands of years. So you have to remember, in the comics, the only examples of the strongest, most pure form of adamantium are Captain America's shield and Wolverine's skeleton. That's it. Like, that's how much pure adamantium there is in the world. The only recent exception to that is actually during Deadpool and Wolverine. These new katanas that he gets during his suit-up montage that are given to him by the TVA are meant to be made out of adamantium, which is why he's able to fight Wolverine with his adamantium claws, and it doesn't completely destroy his swords. And at least before Marvel started to disown the entire Secret Invasion series and this whole Skrull Rhodey plot, it sounds like those Skrulls were going to try and steal it after Sam Wilson's Captain America brought it back to the United States for Thunderbolt Ross, and that was sort of a lead into the Armor Wars series with the Stark Tech side of things. There was a bunch of other Captain America 4 footage Marvel showed off that also involves a very thriller type of Winter Soldier brainwashing plot with the Isaiah Bradley character coming back. Right after this scene of Thunderbolt Ross thanking Falcon for bringing the adamantium back from the Japanese dig site, this invaluable metal, he holds a briefing in a totally different scene with a bunch of other really important figures inside the US government, including Falcon, and Isaiah Bradley is also there with them, learning about adamantium. His speech gets interrupted by an old song that begins playing on the PA system in the room. It wasn't clear what song was playing, but the song triggers programming in Isaiah Bradley, who's there with them, to go full-on Winter Soldier Hydra on all the government officials in the room, trying to kill them and trying to kill Thunderbolt Ross. It's clear that he's been brainwashed, which is why I make the Winter Soldier Hydra brainwashing programming reference in the song triggered that programming. There's also another person in the room whose programming gets triggered and starts attacking people as well. It's not clear who brainwashed him, if they have any ties to Hydra, which was thought to have been wiped out before Avengers Endgame. Sam Wilson's Captain America tries to step in and defuse the situation, stop Isaiah Bradley from hurting anyone, but because Isaiah Bradley has super soldier powers, he throws Sam Wilson easily like a rag doll, then throws a table at everyone, even though he's an old man. Keep in mind what he looked like at the end of the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. Like, he is a very old man, but the super soldier serum inside him still makes him super quick and super strong. It's a real good reminder that even though old man Steve Rogers seemed super feeble when we saw him during Avengers Endgame, like, oh, what happened to him? He lost all his powers. No, he did not. He would still be super strong and super quick. Then Isaiah Bradley escapes by jumping out a window. After the dust settles, Thunderbolt Ross agrees with Sam Wilson that his inner cabinet, his inner circle here, has been compromised, saying that either you can't see them or you don't want to. This will probably inform his decision to become the Red Hulk eventually. Sort of like the opposite side of the Thanos, fine, I'll do it myself kind of situation, like fine, I'll do it myself, and gives himself the powers of the Hulk. Then we get to that Armor Wars movie. That's mostly supposed to be the real Rhodey learning about what Skrull Rhodey had done with all of Iron Man's tech and armors, the adamantium plot that they had, selling this off to key villains, arming the Skrulls up, and giving access to damage control, who I think were supposed to be some of the real villains of that movie, like the US government was during the comic book Armor Wars. If you didn't read the original comic book series, Justin Hammer is another villain during that, but he's not like the biggest villain. Part of the idea, though, I think in the MCU version, is that damage control also starts messing with Iron Man's tech because they gain access thanks to what Skrull Rhodey did, and it leads to the resurrection of Ultron's code, which Iron Man had been keeping in his protection since the events of Avengers Age of Ultron. It's not totally clear if the Armor Wars movie is still happening. Some people think that it is, some people think that it's not. I guess we'll find out in the next couple of years. Like, if they don't shoot it in the next couple of years, then it's probably not going to happen. But you can see why Marvel probably deleted this particular scene. Like, they wanted to forget about this whole Captain America 4 Skrull Rhodey Armor Wars plot, mostly because they wanted people to forget about Secret Invasion just in general, and they were going to be changing the plot of Captain America 4 and Armor Wars if that did wind up happening. Like, well, we're just going to brush over a lot of the Skrull Rhodey stuff. Right now, Marvel just in general is sort of re-envisioning the way they're doing their movies on a creative level and a practical level, so I wouldn't be surprised if more deleted scenes like this wound up coming out like this is part of some original storyline that they developed back when they were still doing this original plan of Marvel Phase 6 movies. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below. There's a bunch of big stuff coming up too. We're in the middle of the X-Men 97 3-part finale. I just posted my episode 8 video. Click here for that, and click here for my full breakdown of that Captain America 4 trailer. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.